Where's our tag?
Start.
Tag, we ready?
Yep.
Intro.
Alright, hi everybody. My name's Gadget. I guess for introductions, so I can show what we know. I'm a two tours to Iraq veteran, Marine Corps and Army. I was a tank driver and an infantryman. And right now I'm working on my Texas Peace Officer license. So,
Sergeant Chris Redfield with Stars. I'm currently a private security officer, level 3, and I'm also working on my Texas Peace Officer's license.
Albert Wesker, Stars. Currently a private security officer, level 3 as well. Trying to get into college.
Jaeger, I'm soon to be a stay-at-home dad for my first child. And just for everybody's information here, this panel is a two-part panel. We have our tactical safety and how to do tactical cosplay, and then we're going to have the second side more for con safety, things to look at and keep aware of. If you guys have any questions, we ask that you keep them to our Q&A. So, how's everybody doing this morning?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. How are you?
Did they say something?
I don't know. I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it.
How are you doing this morning?
Pretty damn good. We're doing good.
Okay, that's.
I have a headache. I'm good.
You're with staff, so you're exempt from this. All right. Did you want to start, or do you want to start over here?
yeah, run with you guys.
Awesome.
All right.
Oh, that's why. Okay.
Well, we start with tactical first, right?
Yes.
Okay, so basically tactical stuff. The main thing I've noticed at every convention I've been to 15 conventions all over the world, I've noticed people do not use proper weapon safety. I've noticed people do not properly hold weapons barrel facing down because, again, barrel safety. That is an example of a weapon not to be used at a convention.
No, actually, this one has been approved.
Well, for you.
Yeah,
But in realistically, no.
It's full metal, almost full metal. Does not have an orange tip on it.
For safety of the panel and for the con, this does have an orange tip.
Oh, it does?
We put a barrel plug over it as well for the extra safety, and even have it zip tied so it won't come off. The reason we say it's best not to bring full metal, because we do have SAPD officers here and there will be officers at other cons. These can be mistaken for real ones. People have been killed because they bring the real stuff out in public. We stress very much so, go with something that very obviously fake.
Yeah. Whether it's plastic, it's orange tip, heck, even if it's a Nerf gun that's all painted out, you know what I'm saying? That's fine. You do not want a real weapon because there have been, as my friend said, many shootings. There's also been many arrests because people bring realistic without orange tip. By federal law, you have to have an orange tip. If you do not have the orange tip, you go to prison. And you really don't want to go to prison. So, primarily weapon safety. Again, people don't hold the weapon. People like to roughhouse. People like to, show off point barrels, especially lasers.
do not laze people.
Thank you.
Who knows what we mean by lasers? Even when you're doing pictures, we're trying to stress don't point the barrels at people, because people who may not know and understand what we're doing may think you're actually pointing at them. For those who've been around the military, you understand that term, and you most likely, okay, if I do it, I'm in trouble.
Yeah, flagging people is basically pointing a weapon at them. And the biggest thing is, like, you gotta think of it, especially in, I hate to bring it up, but especially in recent times with a lot of the stuff that's been going on in different places and stuff like that, police officers are on a much higher level of alertness. And not so much alertness, they are overly focused on potential aggressive acts. So, I mean, yeah, you're having fun, but they're not seeing, even with the orange tip, they're not seeing, okay, that's a kid having fun. They're like, okay, is that a threat? And unfortunately, it's gotten to the point where you're gonna have to worry about officers shooting first, asking questions later, because if you've got somebody, I mean, it's like, well, we're all dressed up, and it's like, okay, somebody who has ill intent could easily do the same thing. And I'm not saying any of us are, we're here to have a good time and enjoy our hobby, but you could have somebody that decides that, hey, I'm going to be bad, and one, he's going to ruin it for everybody, but he can blend in too well. So sit there and you see some guy going, yeah. A police officer who sees that, he's like, either he's going to start tasing you or he's going to draw on you, but you're going to end up in zip cuffs. if you're lucky. So
If you're lucky, you know, without being tased first.
Taser.
But, you know, stuff like that, you know, and it's okay. Also, another thing, when you're doing certain outfits, military, law enforcement, especially if you have stuff that you look like, you know, say SWAT, people are gonna think you're a cop. People think I'm a cop. And I'm from Resident Evil, I'm stars, you know. People think I'm a cop. And it's like, no, especially when I don't have my vest on and I'm just in my shirt. People think I'm a cop. And they want to come up to me like, excuse me, officer, can you help me? It's like, I'm not a cop, okay? I'm sorry, I'm not. But I will help them because, again, it's a good attitude, you know? But with that being said, people will ask you questions, people will say, people will make fun of you, people will say, oh, you know, strictly him. Oh, he's from Call of Duty. No, he's not, but okay, whatever.
I better Call of Duty.
So on and so forth, you know. So when you're doing that, it's fine. You're gonna have a lot of kids wanting to touch your weapons. Now, proper weapon safety, you don't let them. Now, if you want to pose with them and they put their hands on it, it's up to your discretion. But do not let them have it, because I actually, again, saw this, and kid had it. Guy did not disable his airsoft gun, took it and shot him right in the stomach.
Can I step in on this one, Austin?
Yeah.
One of the reasons we ask that, especially if it's a little kid, we don't want them handling our props, is one, we don't know what their parents will think of it. If it's a kid and they're wanting to hold it, talk with the parent first. Being ready to become a parent myself, I'm going to take those extra steps to make sure my child is safe when at con. Do any of you guys have a family?
Yeah.
Okay, so you understand my point to this. You want to take that extra step to make sure you're safe and making sure anybody who's interacting with you is safe. All right?
I also want to touch on that. I mean, for me, you know, about some of my background, you know, about T-close and weapon safety, it's also a good opportunity to teach kids a good thing about actual firearm safety. If you see one, don't touch it. If everybody remembers from when they were younger, NRA's Eddie Eagle. Stop, don't touch, get an adult. So, I mean, offset the con, that's a good way to, you know, just kind of encourage, you know, safety for children, because if you think about it, you know, from a realistic standpoint, a lot of accidental shootings are kids who see a gun and they think about the video games, and they bam, and they accidentally shoot their friend, which is a tragedy. But, you know, here we have an opportunity to say, if you see one, don't touch it. You know, talk to an adult, ask your parents, you know, go get them.
Yeah. And being a security officer, being an armed security officer, I've actually had a kid try and go for my weapon thinking it was a toy. And I took him to the ground very hard, and his parents are freaking out. Why are you hurting my child? Why is your child reaching for my weapon? You see me in uniform, you see me on duty, why are you trying to reach for my weapon?
Okay. Do we want to go over proper weapon safety?
Yeah.
Show them how to?
Yep.
I'll be your dummy for this one.
Sweet. So I'm gonna pass it off to him, since he is one of the good
All right.
guys.
Proper weapon safety, because I don't see you guys currently running most of your props. Do you have anything in the holster?
Got a banana.
Okay, well, that works. Close enough. One of the things for what we teach for proper weapon safety, if you're going to do a picture, a lot of people say, oh, well, why don't you have the mag in to make it look realistic? In my case, I bring airsoft mags because, one, it helps with our officers. They don't have to worry about, oh, does he have bullets in it? Because I can show them there's nothing in them. As well as, okay, we're doing a picture. He can see I put this in, but I'm making sure to keep my finger off the trigger, keeping my weapon aimed to the ground, and in this case, away from people. If say, oh, we want to make it look like you're pointing at something, aim at a wall. Have the photographer against your wall, aim around him. Because, again, police officers are going to see, okay, he's aiming into a crowd, is he a threat? And this can become very bad very quickly. Gadget?
Now, also the other point of that is, if you want to think about it, there are 4 actual weapons, firearm safety rules. Treat every weapon as if it were loaded. Never point a weapon at anything you don't intend to shoot. Keep your finger straight off the trigger until you're ready to fire. Keep the weapon unsafe until you intend to fire. So, you know, as you were saying, you know, talk about muzzle awareness and things like that. Even doing this and a tactical carry can set law enforcement into kind of an alert status. So it's like, as you see me, all I'm carrying is a sidearm. I have, I have my toy shotgun for some pictures, and then I have a little sub gun. When I'm intending to do my professional pictures, I got this, but most of the time I'm not rocking it. Now, you guys in the Vietnam era, sling arms. Get a 2-point sling, have it slung over your shoulder. That's a great way to carry. I mean, he's going to a modern approach with it, where we've adapted with the times and carry it the low ready. But having it slung over your shoulder is a lot better. It's like if you want to keep it with you, the other advantage is you keep your hands free, so you can pick up swag and stuff like that, but you still have your prop for when you want to do pictures with people. But once again, it's like the biggest thing that we can impress upon anybody is muzzle safety. That's why we're repeating it so much. It's something that's been ingrained to us from our time in the service, and our life experiences. So we want to really impress upon that to people, because we want you to be safe. You want me to have a good time, and we don't want you to end up in the back of a squad car.
Or on the ground in a puddle of drool.
Yeah. Just like also, if you see anybody not doing proper weapon safety with that, like Deadpool characters and stuff like that, check them. Be like, hey, don't be pointing at people. Do you know the proper way? So on and so forth. Get security. Do something so that people will learn proper weapon safety. Because say for instance, someone does forget it's loaded, even if it's an airsoft gun. We've all done it. Well, besides him, we've all done it.
At one time or another, you will.
Whether you're a child or you're a teenager, you may even forget it's loaded, or you may even forget that there's one in there that even though you popped out the mag,
Forgot to check the barrel.
You forgot to check the barrel. And you're playing with it, and you're like, oh, and it fires and hits someone in the eye, and they lose the eye. Well, it's your fault because you didn't properly check your weapon. So that again, you want to stress, always check, make sure it's empty, make sure it's not loaded. Even if it is, dry run it in your room. Dry run is basically dry fire when you make sure it's empty. Do that in your room.
Yesterday alone, I had to stop at least a dozen people who were running in tactical cosplay and say, hey, you're lasering people, you're flagging, put your barrel down.
We're not trying to be pains, we're not trying to be drill instructors, but we want people to be safe. We don't want people to get tased or be in squad cars, or like what happened up in Vancouver, Canada, or two guys doing a battlefield cosplay got out of their vehicle, they were putting on their gear, and some crazy lady, even though it said convention, called the cops on her, and their SWAT team came out and put them on the ground.
I was getting plenty close just getting out of the car today, but having all my gear off at the time, I just put it in a chair and took care of it.
Rolled it, and you could do that too. You could put it in a chair, roll it in to, say, the lobby in front of a police officer, be like, hey, I'm gonna put my gear on, is that okay?
Oh, I took it straight over to prop check. Hey,
Yeah.
I've got things that need to be checked. This way, SAPD is seeing this, they're checking it, and we're good to go.
Best
So-
way to do
That's the
it.
best way to do it.
You guys have an issue if I step in on disabling?
No.
All right.
You'll pick up and I'll go.
Okay. I'm here today because airsoft props can, like this case, if you know how to do your work with tech, this could be made to work or not work. In this case, it was disabled for today. Anybody who's worked with airsoft props in the past, you learn how to disable your props. In my case, I have to pull a receiver pin to take it apart. For an airsoft prop like such, you have your outer barrel, but you also have to run an inner barrel, which will allow it to feed and subsequently be in use. One of the best ways to disable an airsoft prop is to pull that entire inner barrel setup out. Because, yeah, I could put a mag in, it ain't gonna do anything.
Touching that, he runs on the high end of of propping and stuff like that. Me, I just tend to go to this.
The better side.
Walmart, 30 bucks. Filled barrel of silicone, pulled the guts out of it. I can throw this against the wall, it shatters, I don't care. It's lighter than his, because his is true weight. But once again, you think about it from a cosplay aspect, it's lightweight, so it's not going to be as heavy, especially for those who are not used to carrying stuff like that. But it's not as expensive as well, so you don't mind filling the barrel. Because the big thing with the con safety here is like they want you to fill the barrel. So you fill the barrel, you basically render it permanently inoperable. So I prefer to do that from my point because it's cheaper. I can go buy an M16 or whatever at Academy, relatively cheap, or and then just trade it apart. Or eBay. eBay is a great way to find stuff that doesn't work, so you're not paying top dollar, and basically it's already rendered inoperable.
Yes. The second one. Can everybody see the pistol grip? Which is right here. This section right here. For most of the higher end models, this houses a motor, which in turn works the gearbox. Phase 2, take the entire bottom of this out, pull your motor. If I ever hook a battery up to this, it ain't gonna do crap. It's gonna go, you're funny. Literally.
Yeah. So that's one of a few ways to disable the firearms. Now, we've been talking about rifles, shotguns, stuff like that. Pistols is the same way. With his, it can lock back. So he can actually probably take it apart very easily by pressing the simple switch.
Oh man, this is gonna be a nightmare.
If he can hit it.
No, it's just finicky. There it is. Come on, get it out of there.
Typically, when you deal with full metal airsoft pistols, they're relatively built the same way as what it's based off of. So disassembling them is typically the same as
Yeah, and they can be disassembled for the primary reason of because they work or they're specially made to where they blow back and stuff. They got components in it to where you have to replace them, you have to fix them, and you have to clean them.
Yep.
With the spring backs, you really don't have to. Mine's a spring back, but I can still take it off. I can still take my slide off and disable everything, and then put it back on. I still got that realistic effect. So,
like mine, cheap $20 at Walmart. You can tell. You can pretty much tell because there's no way for any round to feed anything like that. But I mean, yeah, if you're doing doing a pose or whatever, it's fine. But big thing is just having it in your just keeping your holster. Just once again practicing. Just because it's a prop doesn't matter. Treat it like the real thing.
yeah. And
Which is
go ahead.
the other big thing that I cannot stress enough. If the prop checks aren't open, keep it concealed. Keep it out of sight. This I had sitting in a backpack along with my pistol until prop said, hey, come on up, get yourself checked. And even then, with SAPD and the standard guide, they called the head just to make sure this was okay for this panel. Since there's so many of the zip ties on it. Because I had it literally in 2 pieces.
Yeah, so you got to constantly check. And again, when you have leg holsters or any type of holsters on, don't let people come up behind you and grab your stuff.
That's why you see mine's double banded. It's got a snap and then a Velcro over
Make
it.
sure you do have it locked and not just sitting in there, because you do have the guys that do assassins, or the guys, again, they take that character too far and they want to grab your stuff. I've had that nearly happen. I've nearly flipped them over my shoulder onto the ground because that's just how I'm trained. Don't let people touch your gear. Don't let people grab for your gear, okay? Because even if they grab your gear, they shoot someone. Whose gun is it? It's yours. Who let them take it? You did. So whose fault would it be? Yours. Not saying that it would be your fault, but it is your fault to the point where you're letting someone take a possibly dangerous weapon and hurting someone with it, So proper weapon safety, how to hold the weapon barrel face down is very important, because again, not a lot of people want to do it. Everyone that comes here dressed up in military stuff or tactical stuff, they do it for fun. They don't do it to realize, hey, I'm representing something, I'm representing not just myself, but every single tactical cosplayer out there, to where if I screw up,
It puts bad rep on all of us.
precisely, just like with him, with airsofting. One person at, say, one special airsoft field can get everybody banned because of what, especially if they're in a group, because that one person can screw up and throw a M249 saw at somebody, or try to. I want to see it happen, and get
Then everybody's in
everybody
trouble.
banned.
But extending on that, this is my second year running this costume rig. last year I ran it. I didn't run a long gun at all. We did it for a picture, and then we just like, it's too heavy. Let's get out of the way. Going to the mall like this, we had a lot of international people from Mexico, stuff like that, just giving us the look. And
I get it all the time.
It's like my friend and I. We have a certain type of bearing, military and law enforcement. People get out of our way, and it's great. That's fine. But you also want to, smile, say hello to people, stuff like that.
Yeah.
San Japan has a really great reputation right now, and you want to help further that, because when you guys are out at the Riverwalk and you just walk around, you're actually kind of ambassadors for San Japan. So, have that friendly attitude, stuff like that. Conduct yourselves in a professional manner is the best way to say it. I've had a couple of guys that I've seen who were actually military that were out, in their uniforms and wearing a Pikachu hat. And I had to go up and fix him because, like, hey, when you're out and in that uniform as military, you're representing the entire army to everybody. So it's cool you're a nerd and everything like that, but you're wearing a uniform, you're representing more than just yourself. And same thing with being out here as cosplayers for San Japan. You're ambassadors. You're going to be looked at and things like that. My second year, I was a Colonial Marine from Aliens, and I was coming back from the mall. I was walking through was it Luciano's or whatever, that nice restaurant on the right side.
Oh yeah, Luciano's.
I was walking past there, and this old couple stopped. I was like, what's going on? It's like, oh, it's a San Japan convention for a bunch of nerds to come together and have fun. Well, what are you? I'm a Colonial Marine from the movie Aliens. Why? It's something I wanted to do since I was a kid. It's a lot of fun for me. Can we take a picture of you? Sure.
He got eaten by a chest burster.
But I wasn't.
Well, and with that, it really doesn't matter what you're cosplaying. You always have to know what it is you're cosplaying. So say, like, for me example, I'm a robot. So if I'm running around there, I'm supposed to be steampunk, and I have on this cute pink tutu. I've either got to play it off as, well, it's part of my character. I love running around the Riverwalk in a pink tutu. Or I just look really stupid. When people look at me, they're like, oh, that's the kind of nerd that comes to San Japan. Okay, steering clear of that. And next. So you don't want to give them that kind of opinion. So if you want to do Twilight Sparkle, or you want to do one of the guys from Aliens, or you want to do something from Call of Duty, it doesn't matter what you cosplay, you have to make sure that you represent it properly.
Does anybody know where the zombies are at? I'm going hunt later. Anybody want to try?
Yeah, just to touch up on the point where Noah's representing, if you're wearing military uniforms, again, you're representing, even though you're cosplaying, you're representing the military. Don't do anything stupid, because it will apply on actual military. People will think you're actually military. They will come up and thank you for your service.
Also, if you're portraying the military, actual military will come up to you if you are acting stupid.
Yeah,
I did that a couple of times. Like I said, when I was in Colonial Marine outfit, I had a kid out there in Pikachu, and I was like, hey, you're wearing a uniform. And just like, I was wearing multicam, but I made sure that I had big Colonial Marine patches and stuff like that on, just to try to distance myself from it, because I'm no longer active. But you have people, they see camouflage, or they see, like I said, last year they thought I was a cop. People were asking if I was working security. So I walked around. It's like, people asked for directions. It's like I was giving directions as best I could, but I was also not trying to portray this, hey, I am what I look like. Be friendly, be out there, but at the same time, don't forget that you're an ambassador to San Japan, things like that.
Yeah, very much so. And to touch upon, make another comment, is that I was at Dragon Con, which is in Atlanta, Georgia, and I caught this kid who was an Army specialist wearing a Sergeant Major of the Army rank, had Special Forces Commando Sniper Ranger tabs. He was wearing an Air Force PJ beret, and he had a Navy SEAL trident on his thing upside down. Saying that was an Army Special Forces type of medal, only the Army could win that. Well, I directed him to my friend, my father, a Master Gunnery Sergeant at the time, United States Marine Corps, 34 years, 24 deployments, and he cried. Yeah, next thing you know, that kid goes into the bathroom with my dad, comes out, and he has a hole in his uniform. And now he had to explain to his sergeant why his actual Army uniform had a hole in it.
And he did that to his actual uniform?
Yes, he did not take off his name tape. He did not take off his U.S. Army. He still had his patches on.
Everything's Velcro.
Well, no, the uniform is transitioning back. But to touch up on your guys' point, one of the reasons I am not in camo is because we do have a lot of service members who are running around Military City, USA.
San Antonio, we have Lackland Air Force Base, Fort Sam Houston. Fridays, the
Airman
weekend
Special.
is Airman Special. The weekends are graduating weekends every week.
Yeah.
You see the boys in blue walking around in their
Yeah.
dress blues
Yeah.
with their families.
One of the points I'm going to make, if you're going to dress up in camo, go Vietnam era, go to the older stuff that is no longer in service, because it helps present that I am not actual military. Oh yeah, I'm doing military cosplay, but I'm not here to be military. Because
Modern military.
people who have served are going to come up to you. What unit are you with? They're going to start asking you questions. When you start answering them with just random stuff, they're going to take it one of two ways. Okay, either you're just out here to have fun, or okay, what are you trying to impersonate?
Yeah.
And that creates a lot of trouble, and we'll get the cops involved very quickly.
Very much.
If you do find yourself in a situation where your cosplay is wearing something of modern camo, if someone comes up and asks you those questions, say, hey, I'm not military,
I'm not active duty.
I'm not active duty, flat out deny. I'm just doing a cosplay of Call of Duty.
Or
Modern
Battlefield,
Warfare,
or
Battlefield.
you know, something like that. Let
Let
them know.
them know you are not trying to offend anybody by what you're doing.
And if you're wearing modern stuff, don't wear rank.
No.
Yeah.
Older stuff, yeah, you probably can. Newer stuff, don't wear rank. You can have U.S. Marines, U.S. Army, U.S. Navy, U.S. Air Force. If you want, you can go Coast Guard. We will judge you at that. But
What?
wrong with the Coast Guard? Grandfather
Chair guard,
was in the
what?
Coast Guard.
yeah,
That's
so but
No, that's trick art too.
don't have name tapes.
Dude, we should do Coast Guard.
That's another thing too. Don't have name tapes. If you're gonna have a name tape, don't have U.S. Army, U.S. Marine. Don't have that. So
Like
it's either-
Gadget over here.
Yeah. I mean, like my first year I was wearing the RCPD, but I decided to ditch that mostly because of the way I was wearing my rig. But you know, when you're wearing something modern, you know, try to make it as different as you can from actual stuff, so you're not going to upset actual military members, actual police officers, stuff like that. But once again, you're going to have people who've never seen a soldier. That's why I was impressing upon that one kid. He was wearing the Pikachu hat. It's like you got people who've never seen a soldier. They see you represent them. So if you look like a soldier, people are uneducated. You want to make sure that you portray yourself in a positive light. If you're thank you for your service, thank you, and then move on. Don't try to pull in accolades for something.
He'll hunt you down for it.
Oh yeah.
But at the same time, like I said, you're ambassadors for not just for San Japan and anything else going on. So once again, it's like just conduct yourself in a proper light and things like that.
Okay, guys, I think we've
Yeah,
covered all the points.
We've beaten that horse to death.
Oh, we covered all the points.
Yeah, well, I think we covered
All right.
everything.
Time to go to another
We're
one.
going to pass this over to the second part of our panel, which is going to be con safety from the standpoint of other types of cosplayers, not just us tacticals. Those who, like a lot of the women you see running around. I'm sorry, guys, I know you guys will up here like, hey, look, check her out. This is where hers is covering. It's going to cover a lot of aspects, including that.
Yeah.
Questions?
All right. So my section is the layperson's terminology version of con safety. So the whole idea of cosplay is you're out there to have fun. You're out there to enjoy hanging out with other people who enjoy the same thing you do. Okay. So whenever you're out there, you're in costume. Say you're in full battle gear, and someone decides to go up behind you and go, "Hi! I love your cosplay."
No.
That is a very bad thing to do. You don't do that. So always ask permission whenever you're in the con. Ask permission whenever you're coming up to someone if you want to touch them or shake their hand or hug them or anything like that. There's no touching unless you have permission first. And if they don't give it, don't approach.
Because in state of Texas, there is a law. If unwanted touching, even if I just go like this, he does not want it, that is a sexual assault and
Even just
assault.
like, oh, these are nice
Yeah.
gloves.
If I don't want it, that's assault right there.
If
You get charged.
If it's non-consent and that person decides they want to take it, the police will, will bring you up on, can bring you up on charges.
Especially if they're underage.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So that's why we always say, it's a very popular term, respect the bubble. So I'm sitting here, I have my bubble, it's not, it's yay big. He's in my bubble right now, he's getting in my bubble, stop it! And you can say it, stop it, don't do that, back off. And they'll do it. If they don't, that's when you go get the cops or you get security of some kind. Hydration is another thing. It's Texas. It's hot. This is San Antonio in
It's
July.
summer.
No, August. This is, oh God, this is August now.
Today's August 1st.
I am
Yes.
not used to this.
Yes, canteens, definitely.
In fact, quick thing, take a drink.
See one or two key, dear.
I am faulty.
Yeah,
I refilled my boiler before we started.
I had to remind some friends about that. My second con, the first time I ever cosplayed, thanks to my time being in the service, I had an idea of hydration. I was sitting there filling up my water bottle from the ice carriers in the panel room, and there's another guy next to me in Indiana Jones. He looked just like, oh my God, why didn't I think of that?
Oh,
Figuring out how to incorporate, a pouch on your body to hold a water bottle is absolutely important.
And most of the time I have a water bottle of some kind on me. I was in
Like
a
so.
rush today.
Camel packs.
Yeah.
Military camel packs. Easy to pull.
Canteens for you guys.
Canteens
I
for
mean,
y'all.
especially just like look at all the face paint she's wearing. She's going to be hot, especially with all that black she sees outside. You
I
want
know.
to hydrate. You want
I've
to.
already had to repaint once because the heat was, I was sweating so much that some of the makeup was gone. So when you're out there and you're having a blast, you're not thinking about the heat. This is so much fun. We're having a great time. We're taking great pictures. And you're gonna forget.
And also,
Keep
if
it
you
with
see
you.
if you see someone, because yesterday we had EMS ambulances here because people were having heat.
Yeah.
Heat
They had heat
incidents.
stroke.
Yeah, they're heat casualties.
Yeah.
And the thing is, it's like you want to think about this. When you're thirsty, you're already dehydrated.
Yes.
So you want to be pushing water even before you're thirsty. And it's like, if you're not one of those people that doesn't like water, get some flavor packets. Put a Propel
Oh, yeah.
Propel packet or something.
This thing is like what,
inside.
50 cents?
Yeah, well, it's like, this has got some strawberry Propel in it.
Ooh, yum.
And just, it helps, you want to be drinking it, and you also, a great idea, get one of these, measure it, and then have a timer set up. And it's like every couple hours you want to drink so many ounces,
That's
especially
nice.
if you're sweating up.
Yeah.
Because you want to stay hydrated, and becoming a heat casualty, headaches, those things are terrible.
As someone who's got a high metabolism all my life, I've always had to deal with dehydration, the worry of heat strokes, heat exhaustion, all of that. So
Name's growing too thick.
yes, thank you. I'm hoping in the next couple of years that'll change. My body will actually rock out like my dad's did. But
It's okay, you have less to lug around than me.
I also have less.
Hey, I'm not saying. I'm not judging. Hi, other
Welcome.
people. Say hi to the people.
Hey, more people.
All right, so my next part is battle buddies. I'm gonna need my girls up here for this one.
Ladies.
And I don't mean just myself. Oh, you brought my badge. Thank you. Yes. All right, so my next bet is battle buddies. So when you're at a con, no one wants to go alone, and no one ever should. Okay, there are instances at cons because people can be antisocial and don't know how to interact with humans, so things can go wrong. So the first one is always have a friend with you. These girls are practically inseparable. It is either those two or they pair up with us. We are always two or more. You never go alone.
Ever since last year, me and Chris, we're always together unless
Yeah.
he needs
I mean, what
to
was-
go and do something
What was
real
one
quick
of the
and I'm
things that
holding a spot
happened
in
to
line.
y'all? Just at this con. You had that at a dance class. She had a guy. You go ahead and tell the story. I'm terrible at telling.
He just got a bit too close. Was going against what the dancing instructor was saying, and was trying to hold me too close. And so automatically that sends out a red light. That's a no. I mean, and if it hadn't been for her and her coming in, I don't know what could have happened. So
He was grabbing her and
yeah.
kissing on her, and it was a no.
And that goes
We
back
actually
to
didn't-
respect the bubble, guys.
Yeah.
Especially for guys.
Yeah.
Oh, girls too.
Well, girls too,
I
but
have a friend who does the Old Spice Man from the commercials. He loves playing that character, and he does it to a T. But he has told me some horror stories he's had of ladies coming up to him and grabbing his butt or grabbing his chest and going, "That's the finest piece I've seen all day." And it's just like, really, guys? Really, girls? Come on. It's basic etiquette. So stay in a group. Don't go off with people you don't know. You know, if you see a stranger and he's hitting on you, don't run off to a corner to talk with him. Go with some buddies. Go to a crowded place. You guys know this.
And touching on that, you know, there are situations where you find yourself, it's like, it's a panel that only you want to go to, things like that. And, you know, being separated from your friends and being alone can sometimes be unavoidable. The biggest thing, and from a safety perspective and, you know, self-protection, is situational awareness.
Yeah.
You know, if you're out there, you know, as a saying goes in the military, keep your head on a swivel. When you're walking around, you know, don't be doing this. I mean, you have a lot of people, they focus downward and everything like that. Up, you want to be scanning your areas. If you're walking, you're looking around, you're looking at different things. You want to be paying attention and being aware of what's going on around you. Because, you know, I mean, I'm a guy, so it may not be a situation for me, but as a young woman, especially very attractive young women, you want to be aware of your, you know, aware of your surroundings. So if you can see a guy, and it's like he gives you a bad vibe, you want to be, okay, maybe I should go this way where it's better lighted, and there's a lot more people around instead of taking that darker route to the food court at the mall.
for me, I can't necessarily speak for others, but just with how I was raised as a military brat, 4 years ROTC, private security, dad 20 years Navy NP or MA. I've always got my head. I don't like anybody behind me.
Yeah.
I don't.
I always have my head on the swivel. There is no way.
I seriously need to make a sign that says, "Do not stand behind me. You are liable to get hit." You can ask
Keep
Chris.
back 200 feet. Debris
Yes.
may fly.
There was actually this one guy, what was it, last night? He was playing one of the assassins from Assassin's Creed. I can't remember which one. I'm a fan of the series stuff.
300.
Huh? I know, right? There's like 300 of them out there.
Those
But he
people
came up behind
seemingly-
me, and I just about clocked him. Except for the fact that I knew he was there beforehand, and so I stiffened and I stayed as still as possible because I knew what he was going to do. You know, take the fake blade, haha, you're dead, whatever. He was very upset because I did not react. And he went and sulked in a corner.
That's the best way to kill their fun. Is
Just go, really?
and just walk off.
Or on touching that point, if you see it beforehand, don't. Just,
That's another really good one to do.
you know,
Yeah.
just basically emphatically point out, it's like you do not consent to their, you know, to their play, and you know, respect the bubble. Just no, it's not like that. And if they ignore that, that's when you point. It's like, okay, you go, you find a security officer or something like that. It's like, hey, you know, good thing, try to get the name on their badge. And be like, that guy.
There's a reason they have names on the front of these things. It's so that you can recognize them whether they're in this costume or not. Because yesterday, y'all could have recognized me. But now, I'm a completely different person. There's no way. But I have my Spooky the Jedi on my badge. So yes, you'll recognize me
I do
too.
multiple cosplays. Wesker is my predominant one, but I also have a Mandalorian cosplay. She didn't recognize me yesterday, and she said that was unfair. Also, by the way, she said it was unfair that I changed cosplays, but she didn't recognize me and Chris because we were in our Mandalorians. Granted, I had my helmet off and everything. She didn't recognize me because my cosplay had
That was no face
changed.
paint or anything.
No.
That was just
No
clothes.
face paint. Just a change in normal outfit.
Yeah.
Another thing that I want to point out too is if you see someone that does not have a name on their badge, let a staff member know because they need to have names on their badges.
Absolutely. If they don't have a name on their badge, it is actually not a legal badge. There is always a name on
Can
it.
they issue this to me?
Yeah, the 3-day badge.
The 3-day badges don't?
Yeah, the 3-day
Oh,
badges
that's
don't.
different
You're
from last year.
supposed-
Okay.
Only the pre-registered ones.
When you pick up the lanyard, there's permanent
you're supposed to
markers
write
there
your
that
name.
you're supposed to write your name on.
Yeah.
They don't tell me that.
The
They
people,
don't say anything
they
about it.
don't say anything.
Well, they should.
but
They really should, I guess, because
after this panel, you might want to walk
you
down.
might want to do that. Thank you for letting us know because
Yeah.
there's nothing about it.
Yes,
over there.
and my safety.
Thank you.
Where's the panel, right?
Exactly.
Ah, permanent markers. There we go.
I got ready, so I'm good.
Alright, just make sure I get my sharp back.
Now-
Do they have a blank area on the
Yeah.
Yeah, so right on the bottom below the 3-day,
Is
there's
the Sharpie Vietnam accurate?
or even on
Yes,
the back.
they did have a version of Sharpie in the Vietnam War.
Yes!
It was called
I
chalk,
did that.
and then you put glue over it.
Now,
I don't have Sharpie glue. I can't do this.
now, getting
I'm a
back,
historian. This is what I do.
and getting back on track with
Yes.
getting back on track with that.
Okay.
Getting back on track with that. If you see something, it's like, okay, you see a guy and he's giving you a bad vibe and he's watching, a young woman or vice versa, things like that. Keep an eye out. Remember, it's like we're all ambassadors for San Japan. So if you see something that looks like it's going to go hinky, you want to, keep an eye on it and let somebody know. It's like, hey, or
Or step in yourself. Man.
yeah, don't necessarily insert yourself into a bad situation, but try to look out for your fellow congoers.
Yeah.
There, Chris told me a couple cons ago, there was and it looks real bad on the fandom, but a furry cosplayer. Two furry cosplayers. That, for lack of a better term, were predators. They were searching to do bad things to people. Luckily, congoers reported them.
Good.
And they've actually been banned from IkiCon. I think they're banned from here at San Japan too.
Yeah, they are. I haven't seen
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
But basically, what they did was, they actually kind of drug a 14-year-old girl and took her to the room, and they did stuff to her in their room. And when she got able to notify law enforcement, they could not help her because she didn't know what they looked like, she didn't know where they were at, what room they were in, and what their names were, because they completely changed. And again, she was also drugged at the same time. So,
And that touches on having the battle buddy and being aware of your situations. I mean, these are a lot of things. It's like they teach at college campuses and stuff like that. About,
I'd actually like to interject something here with the whole drugging thing. Con water.
We actually had that back here.
Okay. Yes.
Spiking is definitely a thing.
Akon, Dallas.
Oh God. Don't get me
DPD
started.
was all over Akon
Mm-hmm.
because of people having narcotics in their bag. Weed, ecstasy, coke, meth, you name it, it was
All
there.
of them. Mm-hmm.
There were people, literally groups, huddled around the little water containers and literally pulling off the jugs, spiking it, and putting it back just to do it. Just to get people who drink the con water messed up.
Don't trust con water.
Exactly.
I mean, cons are fantastic. People who put them together are wonderful, and they mean good. But the people who come sometimes are crazy.
San Japan, I haven't heard any. Aren't we all? We're all just acceptance and
But not the kind that
embrace
spikes
it.
people's water. That's
But-
just bad.
Me and Chris, we bring a case of water and have our own bottled water. We will get water out of a fountain before we get it from the water coolers. Just because we don't want to take that chance. I haven't heard of any situations here at San Japan. Thank God.
San Japan has so far been a very safe con, and I'm very happy for that.
Yeah.
But that's because they are listed as a PG-13 con. During the day, it's PG-13. It ain't until the sun goes down.
That the 18 plus.
No, the weirdos is now.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
And once again, going with that, if you see something that's out of place, mention it. I mean, this is,
Speak up.
This goes back with law enforcement,
Absolutely.
military, being on college campus. If you see something that doesn't feel right, report it.
What's wrong, feels wrong, is wrong.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
If it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck,
Yeah.
looks like a duck, it's a duck.
And
If it looks wrong, speak up, say
And-
something, or at least bring it to the
Yeah.
attention. If it turns out that it's just a misconception or misunderstanding, security will figure it out. They will apologize, say sorry, it was just a concern, and it will be rectified of the misunderstanding.
Better safe than sorry.
I'd much rather have someone come up to me and say, "You're doing this wrong." I will be, "Thank you for correcting my actions. I will make sure I do not do that again."
Proactive.
I thank people who come up to me and say, "You are being unsafe," and correcting me. I thank them.
Which, on that note, if you see someone hitting on an underage individual, whether it be male or female,
Report it.
immediately.
Yes, that is a thing. A lot of people
I've
hook
seen
up
that
at
several
Well, that
cons.
gets a little difficult because
Yes, especially nowadays.
I don't want to be offensive or anything.
No.
But the way people dress, it can be thrown off. So
Very true.
be very, be friendly, but it's like, let's find out beforehand. Hi, how old are you?
Yes.
Exactly.
For those who are above the age of 18, I understand. People come to cons and they hook up at cons.
If they're like,
Make sure you find out the person's age, unless it is
Oh, please
blatant
ask.
obvious. Blatant obvious.
And it's not. A lot of times at cons, a 15-year-old will look 30 because that's the character they're playing, and the 30-year-old will look like a 12-year-old because somehow they've managed to
Lolitas.
keep their body like that. Lolitas, thank you.
Always be careful of a Lolita, no matter
You
what it
don't know
is.
how old they are.
Exactly.
but at the same time, it's like, be friendly or anything like that. And, this is a con where everybody expresses their hobby. So, you don't want to be mean to somebody because they're different from you. That's the whole thing. That's the thing about San Japan. It's all inclusive. Everybody has their thing, and this is a place to enjoy your hobby amongst people who share a passion. So, be friendly with each other, be safe with each other, and if you find somebody and you hit it off, that's a great thing.
Yeah,
But at the same time, it's like you want everything to be, you want everything to go great.
Make sure
And
it's
you want
consensual.
San Japan to keep the reputation it has here. It is a wonderful con, and this is my 4th year. I have had such a blast. This has become a commitment for me, even though I drive down all the way from Dallas.
Same here, 4th con as well. Love it.
And,
Always come.
it goes back to what I said earlier. You're all ambassadors for this con, and you've got people that are coming first time. You want them to have a good time too, and you want them to come back. And because I had such a blast the first time, I've been coming back every year, and the con has been growing. So you want to be safe, you want to have fun, and you want to make sure that everyone has a good time and is safe and comfortable.
So with that being said, don't judge people.
Yes.
There are some people out there, a lot of me for example, I cosplay mostly steampunk. Why? Because it fits who I am. It fits.
Because you have screw loose.
I have a couple of screws loose and there's one missing in the back of the neck, but I wasn't going to say that at the panel. But since you asked, we'll do that later. Bubble. Thank you. All right.
See?
So don't judge. There are some people who don't have the money to go all out on a costume. Then again, there are people who have spent thousands of dollars on their costumes, handmade it, done all this stuff for it. I give kudos to the people who can and who can afford that, but not everyone
More power
can.
to them.
This is a closet cosplay. I paid, what, $10 for all the makeup?
I cheated. I used most of my duty gear.
That is cheap.
This is an investment. It's only going to go up in price.
My pants, my uniform pants for work, Shirt came from Chris. Vest, Chris. Everything that I had was bought. I could not enter a cosplay contest with this.
They're good.
Yeah.
Cosplay for beginners.
I've
Anyway.
been doing this for years. Okay.
Yes, this is cosplay for beginners right here. This is a perfect example for cosplay for beginners.
Which reminds me, my next point. Hey there, sexy. We've already kind of touched on this, the whole idea of objectification of either gender. Just because they show it doesn't mean you can touch it. Just because a guy has his shirt off doesn't, hey, I don't even have my shirt off. Hands to yourself.
Come on, stand by.
In the corner.
Thank you. It just feels mean.
It's always on the back of the neck.
All right, so if a girl, okay, there's one assassin, a couple of assassins running around, and they have the sexiest assassin cosplays on the market right now, and it's amazing. Okay, but they are no touch. There's one that is actually carrying a sign that says "Don't touch." That's actually a great idea. If you don't want people to touch, tell them. You know, again, the whole respect the bubble thing. I cannot stress enough how serious the whole respect the bubble. Keep your distance. You can say that is a wonderful cosplay. You pulled it off really well. Don't say that makes your butt look awesome.
No, because that is verbal sexual harassment if they do not want it.
Put it in your face slap.
Well,
That too. Good luck trying to say she assaulted you because that's.
well, you know, if you touch her first, from a legal standpoint, you know, somebody gives you an illicit touch, you slap them back. That's self-defense right there.
Yes.
That was unwanted assault. I'm talking about this from a legal, you know, law enforcement standpoint.
And even a verbal comment like that.
It's
A slap is considered
verbal assault.
self-defense. It is considered verbal assault and verbal sexual assault when it's a comment like.
You'll
yeah,
get off lucky if you get off with a slap when you do that. If you do that within swinging range of a woman, they will hit you. And hit you hard. I have done that before. No. I have done that before. I've had people do things like that. They have had people grab me. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy the more covering up cosplays. Some people don't, some people do. Your own choice. But that's a definite consideration on either end.
And it
on
goes
male
for
or
girls too.
female.
It goes for girls too.
Absolutely, I
Like
can't tell you.
I've seen the gentleman she's talking about that does the Old Spice commercial. I've seen it.
Awesome.
He does a very good job at it. Sadly, it got him kicked out of Wonderland Mall a couple months ago. Yes,
Yeah.
because he didn't have a shirt on.
Oh,
But
sad face.
guys and girls alike, don't touch. If you're going to give a compliment, say, "Hey, you look good in that." That's a compliment.
Yeah.
Hey, they're sexy, and hey, that's a great looking, you know, whatever. That's
Insert thing.
that goes beyond
Yeah, no,
compliment and
that's-
goes into, you know, the same thing is that is an awesome costume. You know,
You must have worked
Simple
really
as that.
hard to do that.
That's
It
even
looks
better.
Yeah.
great.
Compliment. I would greatly appreciate someone who came up and said that to me.
Yeah.
I
And
mean-
I do with a lot of, like, it's, okay, back to the whole tactical thing. I saw a couple of people from Call of Duty and they looked amazing. And I started talking to them and the guy had actually lost 80 pounds in order to get the military-esque figure that was required. And I gave him so many kudos for that. He was here today. He had to go back. But he did really good, and I've seen a lot of people like that. Cosplay is one of those things where if you are really determined, you will do whatever it takes to get into that cosplay that you really, really want to do. And maybe you don't quite fit the comic book standard.
That's why
But-
the term OC, original character.
Thank
Or
you.
Rule 63.
Rule 63, yes.
Or
Exactly.
like the gentleman I saw yesterday cosplaying as Misty. He even learned how to walk
That
and
was
be able to do
adorable,
it.
though.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he knocked it out of
Hey.
the ballpark.
But hey, It's
I
his.
respect that
It's his
commitment.
choice.
Yeah.
Respect it.
Yeah,
And he
I-
did a good job, and he had the voice. That was the creepy thing, was he had the voice.
Serious?
I was like, wow, you're a really good mystique.
You're a dude.
Whoa.
And touching on that,
Okay.
last year I had a friend who never been to a con. He came in, and I know this guy, and I know he can be kind of an insensitive jerk. We walked into he walked into the food court, and I saw some people crosplaying. I looked like, not a word. You are not allowed to speak. Nothing.
Respect
Yeah, you know,
crossbows, definitely.
Yeah, this is a hobby, and you want everyone to love it. And I know I'm repeating myself on this because it's important. But I looked at him as like, you are not allowed to speak. Do not say a word. Keep your mouth shut.
It goes back to the whole don't judge. Just because you're a complete 10 and you spent all the money on your costume and he didn't, doesn't mean you get to say, dude, that sucks.
Cosplay's for everyone.
Exactly.
Showed him yesterday in his TIE fighter.
Yes,
He
that was cool.
Into a TIE fighter.
I thought that was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
People who do that, who take their disability and make something of it, I'm like, dude, that is awesome.
Comic Palooza. Not this year, but last year, there was a girl whose father made her wheelchair into a Dalek. Not only did
I
she
saw that. I've
completely
seen
rock
that.
it, she completely rocked it, and she wound up winning the Dalek races at Comic Palooza and going home with the prize. And she was getting congratulated all weekend. It was completely legit.
Yes.
And think about how she feels. I mean, people who work hard in cosplay. I mean, yeah, I kind of cheated, but I mean, that's think about the work that goes into the face paint on that and everything. It's
I got
beautiful.
up at 5 a.m.
Yeah.
And we left the house as we finished our makeup at 9 o'clock.
9:05.
Yeah.
But you want if you see something, a compliment is like that is gorgeous, that is awesome. Say those are safe compliments instead of
Absolutely.
wow, that's really weird or whatever.
I've even seen cosplayers.
Did you make that yourself?
Yes.
Is
I've
it
asked
a great
them,
one?
did you make that yourself? How did you do it? Because I want to be. One of my dreams in life is to have a cosplay store. I want to know I want to know everything I can to make cosplays. So when I see a really well done cosplay, I ask them, did you do it yourself? And if so, how? How did you do this? How did you make this?
And a lot of times they will tell you in depth how they did it so that when you want to, you can say, I got it from this dude. And this is how he did it. And I can do it now.
My very first con, there's a guy in a Starship Troopers outfit.
Oh, cool.
And I have that picture on my phone to this day. And I walked up to him and was like, that is so epic. How did you do it and everything like that? And he helped me. He told me about some great people to find and everything like that. So the very next year, I got to fulfill a dream I've had since I was 13 years old. I got to be a Colonial Marine. And it's all thanks to that guy I met my first con, and I talked to him, and he helped me out.
Yeah.
So
kudos to him.
thanks to him. I'm in this because it's a little cooler, but he helped me get into cosplay because he was he was such an awesome person. He was an ambassador, for this hobby, and thank you to him.
Just yesterday, standing in line for the Team 4-star, me and Kid and his dad got to talking. I asked him if he did any cosplays. He's like, no, I used to do Homestuck, but got out of that. I was like, any fandoms that you're particularly a fan of? He said Kamen Rider. I was like, okay. I showed him Aniki cosplay. Aniki makes Kamen Rider and Power Ranger cosplay. I showed him the website to where he could get started. I help. If someone's got a cosplay and I know who or how, I will direct them to do so. Where they can get something. I've directed people to where I've gotten masks for some of my other cosplays, airsoft guns, ideas on how like PVC piping and foam boards for LARPing.
This is actually how I got started in leather work. I actually do leather armor now, and I got started because I went to a con and there was a guy there in a steampunk full arm hand tooled leather electricity blaster. is what he called it.
Dang.
And it was, he had carved it and tooled it, and it looked epic. And I was just like, dude, I need to know how to do that. Yes.
Was it ASI?
No, I don't think it was. No. Yeah, I know. I want to go and pick their brains so bad.
So if you see him anywhere, he will talk to you.
Oh, thank you. I'll definitely try and find it. Because that got me into the leather work, and now I'm actually working on an Assassin's Creed cosplay. I'm hand tooling all the leather. Should be done by IkiCon.
Yeah, for my Mando, I plan on making a full leather comma.
Dang.
Yeah.
If you need any help with that, let me know.
Yes, I would greatly appreciate it.
Oh, yes.
Oh, but you know, getting back on the track and everything, it's like,
Yeah.
you know,
I go for rabbit trails.
staying healthy. It's like, don't forget to eat, don't forget to drink, especially in some of the hotter outfits and things like that.
Yeah.
You know,
If you got it, take a drink.
who's got water on them? Hydrate.
Drink water.
But, you know, there's a great touch. She's put up medications. It's like, I take medication, I have to remind myself. I set up timers on my alarms and everything like that to do it.
If you have an inhaler, make sure you keep that on you no matter what.
Yeah, I have one in my bag.
Medications, inhalers, whatever the case may be, keep them on you at all times.
You know,
Yeah.
a lot of people, it's like you wear in pouches and stuff like that. Make sure it's like, hey, you've got to incorporate a pouch. You know, figure out a way to have stuff and keep the things that you need important to you.
We actually carry a first aid kit with us. We actually have it in one of our bags, always. Because you never know when someone's going to fall down the escalator or someone's going to get bowled over in the dealer's room. The dealer's room gets crazy.
Speaking of escalators, you mean like yesterday?
Huh?
Yesterday
It's
when
gonna
you
be
had...
busier than yesterday,
No,
man.
yesterday when we were coming down, after checking the room. We were
Oh,
coming down the
yeah,
stairs and we had an escalator stop. Some people who don't see depth perception very well, going down those kinds of stairs, it can be a bit of a problem. Which comes back to having the battle buddies. If you got somebody with you, say, hey, I'm having some issues coming down here, can I keep a hand on your shoulder to keep my balance? And luckily for us doing that, she ended up tripping and I was literally right there to stop her.
And had he not been there, I probably would have wound up tumbling down the stairs, head over heels.
Seriously,
On metal stairs, no less.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole keeping stuff with you, keeping battle buddies is a big thing. Also, I've seen a lot of service dogs, not just for PTSD. I said PTSD because my brother has PTSD, and he doesn't go to cons because of that.
Yes, I know.
Okay,
I
because
know.
people don't respect it.
I can touch on this. I actually have a PTSD service dog. This is one of the few places I feel safe, I feel comfortable, and I can operate without him. That and the fact that there's really no place for him, so it's not fair to him because there's no place for him to go to the bathroom. And just the number of people, it makes him uncomfortable. So with my dad while I'm at this con. But like I said, this is one of the few places I take care of. So if you see a service dog, don't touch them.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, now mine, I don't mind
I've actually
people.
seen a lot of service dogs here this year.
I'm actually
Most
really
of them
happy
have
about that. But if I have him with me, I like people to talk to me. I like people to interact with him. He's very friendly. And it's a huge icebreaker for me because it makes me feel more comfortable. If he decides he likes a person, then I can feel tough for talking to him. But if you see somebody with a service dog, talk to the handler first.
Yeah.
Ask
Always
permission.
Yeah,
He could easily dress up his dog as a Cerberus.
I mean, I could
Ooh,
easily.
that'd be cool.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't do that, but
Sorry.
I mean, I'm a canine handler, so I have him, and he has his, he has his vest and stuff like that, and I could rock him as a police dog with this if I wanted
That
to.
would
Even
be
better.
awesome.
RP.
And that's what I did when I worked at UTSA. He was a drunk dog, but
Can I just step in on this one?
Yeah.
Most service animals are now having signs somewhere on their vest that saying, do not pet me unless you have permission.
Yes.
I know some people, service animals, will actually try and bite you. I saw
Yeah.
one yesterday. He had a warning label on there saying, my dog will bite you if I have not given you the okay.
Yep.
I have a friend that has a service dog that has been trained because she does martial arts, and the dog has been trained where if someone is coming up to her outside of that dojo, he goes on the complete defensive. I'm talking teeth bared, hackles raised, the whole 9 yards, and if they come within 6 feet of the girl, he will jump at them and bite them. And
that's probably more of a defense for you, because someone who's proficient in martial arts tend to have it as muscle memory and reacts instinctively and will hurt you. And after so many years of training, they have to register as a lethal weapon.
Yep.
But
not in the state of Texas, thank heavens.
Yeah, but the whole thing with service dogs is there are numerous reasons to have one. You have PTSD, TBI, epilepsy, diabetics. The thing is, they have a job and a function. So, think about a blind seeing eye dog. That dog is that person's eyes. You don't want to be distracted.
They're working.
Yeah, you don't want to be distracted from the dog. My dog, when the vest comes off, he's a normal dog. And when the vest is on, he is a bit more, a bit more focused. But once again, for me, as a personal choice, I don't mind people interacting with them. But that's my decision, not the handlers. So if you see a dog and that person's cosplaying is really awesome, slowly make sure you're coming in from the front so the dog can see. You don't want to startle that person, startle the dog or the person. So you want to give them not so much a wide berth that they feel like they're being ostracized, but at the same time, you want to respect that bubble.
Yeah. The other points that we have are know where your medics are.
Yes.
So say someone gets really seriously hurt. No, I don't mean the screwdriver or the wrench, whatever that is. I mean the actual medics. Where are your first responders in the con? Every con has them.
Yes. If you can't find one, find a police officer.
Exactly. And no fighting. It may be fun and cool. I was a Jedi yesterday. I wanted to fight so bad. I had to go outside. Sure, we could say, oh, done. But any more than that, you have to take it outside. And try to avoid it if possible. Because con safety and the police officers will get onto you.
Yes.
I've been gotten onto before.
Even outside, because now you're in public space and a lot of people, especially at the cons, are walking through.
There are some places that have designated
combat arenas.
Little skit areas in the back
where
of the artist alley.
Yes.
And we have a panel later on today, specifically for Star Wars duels. There's actually been stuff taken care of that permits it. Otherwise, no fighting.
Yes. Yeah. And then what do we get thrown out of the con doing that?
Yeah. And with the copying, going back to the tactical stuff, it's like, if you want to go out there and you'll just do it like you do a photo shoot where you're doing combat, don't do it. As much as you want to, as cool as it is and as fun as it sounds, and it really is, don't be out there doing this with a friend in a public area. It's going to scare people, and going back to what we talked earlier, you're going to get tased and zip cuffed in the back of a squad car.
If you're lucky.
If you're lucky and they don't get shot.
And so now that we've covered all of our points and we're coming down to like the last 10 minutes, let's go ahead and do some Q&A. Does anyone have any questions?
Anybody?
Anybody? Anything? Yes.
This is my first time here, and I can hear something. What is this? Act 69 or something like that?
Oh, Rule 63?
Yes.
Rule 63 is what they call a gender bend. Like we pointed out earlier, you'll see guys dressing up as women and vice versa.
Crossplay.
Crossplay, thank you. I see those as a point of something different. We're in an age where everybody's trying to learn acceptance. How better than to do it at cons? You're going to see all sorts of stuff. I mean, how many different female Dantes did I see yesterday? Just from Dante's Inferno.
Well, like it goes back to the story about my friends, going into the food court and seeing the guy dressed up as Misty. It's like, okay, hey, that's your thing. Go for it. My friend, do not say a word. Keep your mouth shut. Don't talk. Because I know him and it was his first con. The thing is, it's like where we are, we're here to enjoy a hobby that we love. And the idea is, like I said, the reason I don't have my dog with me right now is because I feel safe here. I feel comfortable being amongst people that have a passion for something that I share. And I feel safe here. And you want everyone to have that feeling. So, acceptance and just encouragement of everybody's passion is an important thing here. And That's what that's what this panel's about, is being safe, taking care of yourself, taking care of other Congos, and being an ambassador for San Japan to San Antonio.
Your representatives go and represent.
With the Force.
I was gonna say Blue Matter, but okay.
Any more questions?
None?
I'm seeing some puzzled looks.
Any questions on the tactical part? Any questions on concept? Any questions at all?
Right here. Do you have to plug the barrel of the weapon?
Absolutely. That is posted up. Rule number 3 on the safety board at prop check. Weapons barrels have to be plugged. Now, when I was doing my Colonial Marine outfit with my M41, I ran out of time to finish my resin one, so I bought an airsoft model. I took an orange bottle cap and I glued it over the muzzle. Now, if I wanted to use it as an airsoft gun again, it's going to take some work to break it off or anything like that. But San Japan's rules are plugged barrels, and airsoft guns have to be prematurely deactivated.
Like in this case, this model, I didn't have time to plug the barrel. So when I did the safety check, I made sure I had the orange tip on. I put this barrel plug on there. And before we even started this panel, I got an extra zip tie to make sure that this plug stays on.
And that still goes to, that is what not to bring, because it doesn't have the bright orange tip, like this one. And it goes back to what we talked about earlier with the panel, is you can go the high end or you can go the cheap end. And I recommend the cheap end, 20, 30 bucks at Wally World, fill the barrel with silicone, pull the guts out of it. Okay, I've got a cheap toy that, you know, is good for my pictures and good for my my cosplay, but at the same time, I don't, if it gets broken or whatever, I don't care. It's easy to replace. It's not a significant investment. At the same time though, it's like earlier, it's like when you have something like this, muzzle safety, treat it like a real firearm. Don't point at anybody, because it's a quick way to get taken away. It's a quick way to end up in the back of a squad car if you're lucky. Especially, you know, we talked about in the beginning, you know, the police, with everything that's been going on tragically around the country, the police,
shootings and everything.
the police are in a high state of alert. So when you're out there, muzzle down, or if you're carrying something long, sling shouldered. If you're carrying, if it's a firearm, but even if it's a foam sword, things like that, treat it like it's real. Don't go waving it around. And if you're going like to the food court or something, take it back to your hotel room or find a buddy that's staying around the con and keep it with, you know, and have them hold on to it while you go get food.
Especially with firearm problems, because I've heard of people, they don't have a buddy to work with, so they have to bring it with them. Like in my case today, because I've got tactical going on, I'm actually going to stay behind and let everybody who's with me go, and they'll bring me something back, because I don't want to take it out of the con hall and over into public space. Fastest way to get SWAT team showed up.
Yes.
Right.
Fastest rules for River Center Mall states no prop weapons whatsoever. You will get kicked out.
Yep.
I actually came up against that yesterday because I was a Jedi. I had my lightsaber with me, and I had a security guy come up to me at one point, and the only reason I was able to get away with it was because at that very minute there was a kid that decided to come up and say, "I want to be a Jedi too! Teach me to be a Jedi!" And I was like, "Oh!" And so the security guard kind of backed up. He was like, "Okay,
Sometimes
take it out."
security will be a little lax.
Don't bank on it though.
Yes.
Don't bank on it.
Yeah.
I gotta wait.
Right now, the fact that we can even just go to the food court at the mall in costume is a privilege.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
Which can be
you know,
stripped very
as ambassadors for San Japan, don't abuse that privilege, because you got to think about not only yourself but all the people that could come after you.
Yeah.
So when you're out at the food court and you're walking around the mall and things like that, conduct yourselves in a nice way, be safe, but if people come up to you, be friendly with them, tell them about, if they ask questions, things like that. But at the same time, it's like if it starts getting weird for you, take yourself out of the situation. It's not fair. You shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable and go and take yourself out. But at the same time, it's the best way to diffuse the situation. Its potential.
Yep.
And it also helps, like we talked earlier, having a battle buddy. Never go anywhere alone. And even if it's unavoidable, be aware of your surroundings. Protect yourself. And if you see something else that's gone hinky, that that if it looks wrong, and it feels wrong, it possibly is wrong,
Yeah.
go find a police officer or security and let them sort the situation out.
To touch upon that, it's one of those, put yourself in that person's shoes. If you feel very uncomfortable, then obviously they're going to be uncomfortable, you know what I'm saying? I mean, what's up? So.
Yes?
I'm not
Last
myself,
question.
but I have a buddy, but I have a small border person. Is there any way that I can touch myself?
Yeah, well, the thing is, it's like, okay, we're taught from law enforcement and military standpoint, it's what's called keeping your head on a swivel. You want situational awareness. Like, yeah, if you have a friend and you're going to a panel and they're not going to that same panel, say that's fine. But if you're going like a public space or anything like that, you want to be aware of your situation. You know, a lot of people when they're walking, they walk with their heads down, and they're not, you know, they're just focused on their path. When you're walking around, look around. You know, and it's a little easier to do because you're going to see people in costume and things like that. But you want to be aware of your surroundings. And if you see somebody that maybe just gives you that vibe, okay, yeah, the only way you're going to see that is if you're looking around. So if you're, you know, if you see me walking around, even when I'm just doing normal things, I check back sometimes. I'm looking back and keep do that. Train yourself to look around. And this is something that is taught at colleges, especially for women, to protect themselves. Look behind, keep a check behind you. And if you see somebody or something, that it just doesn't feel right, stick to a lidded area. Stick around a large number of people. You're safer in numbers, and that's something that you should always take to heart. So did that answer your question?
Also, you're here to make friends. Be friendly. A lot of times people that you meet here, if they're nice, they'll wind up being buddies. I have a friend that I meet up with at every day in Japan. And we run a steampunk ship together. And it's a lot of fun, and it provides safety for us because we're two girls. We're walking out there, and we do the late panels, so a lot of times we're out there midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning, walking down maybe 10 blocks to our car, going, are we okay? Are we safe? There's drunks out there. This is the weekend. But if you can get yourself a buddy, if you can find some friends that you have some common interests with, hang out with them. Go to some panels together. It's great to be on your own, but it's even funner,
Better.
more fun with friends. So go out there, guys. Enjoy the con. Have fun. No. Have fun. Thank you so much for coming to our panel.
And for those light arrivals, if you have questions or just want to talk,
come out and
I'm going to chill out in the lobby. We're just going to, shoot the breeze and talk. If you have any other questions or just want to talk and get a feel for it,
buddies.
Law enforcement, military, private security, we all have a lot of experience and knowledge, from a safety standpoint. So feel free, if you see us around, ask questions.
Absolutely, guys.
The best way I could say it is evil thrives when good men stand by and do nothing.
Exactly.
And that translates to basically, if you need information is power. Information is ammunition. So if you want to know something, ask us.
Anybody, any other questions we need to worry about? Take care of?
Everything's good. We all ready to go and have some fun?
He's passing out his flyers.
All right.